In my art journaling sessions, I use multimedia techniques, collage, pens, and watercolor. As I'm self-taught and I don't have any art education, I'm figuring out my way with art supplies mostly intuitively. But books and videos here on YouTube are a great source of inspiration too. Today I will show you my favorite supplies at the moment, then I will share some art supplies that I wish I used more because I already have them, but for a few reasons I tend to ignore those things. And in the third part of the video I will tell you about art supplies that I would love to try in the future. This will be a tiny yet very satisfying wish list that keeps me being excited about the future. And by the way, all the art supplies that I have at the moment are very affordable. I don't have any fancy schmancy things, and I will try to recollect the prices and mention them as I show you everything. By the way, I'm Anna, and I started this channel to share tips and inspirations for art journaling and also the way that I build my personal art practice for self-exploration. So here are my favorite art supplies at the moment. Micron pens by Sakura. My oldest favorites on this list. I started using these about 10 years ago. Back then I did surreal dot work illustrations, which were a form of my meditative self-therapy. At the moment I rarely do dot work, maybe on some special occasions, but these pens, Micron pens, are still such a staple for me. I find 0-2 size the most functional and multi-purpose, but I also have other sizes. And recently I bought an alternative to Sakura pens. It's also a Japanese brand, also water resistant, archival ink quality, all those things, and they work amazing as well. But still there is something about Sakura pens that makes me such a passionate fan of them. I also have 3 Sakura gel pens for different details in gold, silver, and white. I love all the pens that I have at the moment and that I use, and the price for each one was about $2 as far as I can remember. Watercolors. I had an interesting learning curve with watercolors, and it's far from being over just yet. I'm still in the process. I didn't have any experience, didn't understand a thing about working with color, because before I was used to working with just black and white medium and also collage, so I had to learn to deal with watercolors from scratch, and I fell in love with them. The thing that I love the most about watercolors is their character. It's gentle, yet very powerful. It's full of surprise and unpredictability and fluidity. And I bet many of us choose art mediums for their character and for the fact that it somehow rhymes with who we are as a person too. So it's very interesting to think deeper about our choices, right? These are all watercolors that I have at the moment. I think I won't share all details about them. Maybe I will make a separate video with showing swatches, so please let me know if you'd be interested in such a video. I'm personally a fan of this content, and thanks to it, I've learned about watercolors a lot. In a nutshell, mine are from White Nights, Pinax, and Rosa Gallery. And I also have a few weird handmade watercolors. I enjoy using granulating, whimsical shades, and I definitely need to learn how to mix colors myself. Now I just throw in different shades together without much thinking about it, and maybe it's the right way to do art journaling, I don't know, at least I'm not strangling my artistic impulse. And as for the price, I paid around $2.2 for a full pan of watercolors and around $2.5 for a tube of watercolors. Sketchbooks by Talents. I haven't tried that many sketchbooks, but I really love these. Two variants of sketchbooks from Royal Talents. This is a very popular art creations version in a landscape format, and this is a special edition for Sakura products, also by Talents, and it's in portrait format. To me, their paper feels absolutely the same. It's cream colored, 140 GSM. There are 80 sheets in each sketchbook. And when I just started experimenting with watercolors, learning about them, I fanatically believed that watercolors must be used on watercolor paper only. And I got a couple of watercolor sketchbooks and ended up not using them really. I just used them for some first experiments, but that's it. I just don't like the bulkiness, thickness, and whiteness of the pages. After sketching on cream-colored paper, it's hard to get back to bright white. It feels too aggressive to me. Besides, for multimedia techniques, watercolor paper is not great. While Royal Talents paper holds all the materials and media that I use pretty well. At the moment, I have two Royal Talents sketchbooks in work, and this one is the newest one, and currently I'm doing a new sketching challenge in there, and hopefully in early September I will share it with you here on this channel. So if you don't want to miss it, please consider subscribing and turning on the notifications. And I forgot to mention the price. I bought all my Royal Talents sketchbooks. I have 3 of them now here in Tbilisi in an art supply store, and the price was around $11 US. Cutting mat. It's a must for collage, yet I started using it only about 3 years ago, and it's been a game changer. I obviously use it for cutting, but also as an organizing pad. It's handy to collect and arrange all collage elements before gluing them on paper. My art journaling space is usually a mess, and I do my sessions either at the kitchen desk, which is also my work desk, and it's right here, or I do it on the floor, and there is always a lot of things going on. So this little guy helps me to get organized at least a little bit. And it's a very simple, no-name cutting mat. I bought it for around $8 in an art supply store in Belgrade, Serbia. X-Acto knife. I love this knife. It was yet another game changer for collaging that I've started using not that long time ago. This was a recommendation from my husband that I should try using an X-Acto knife for collaging. I did, and I absolutely loved it. It's great for cutting large pieces, or for free-form cutting, or for some intricate details. And of course, it has to be used only with a cutting mat, not to damage all other surfaces. This knife is a generic brand, and I cannot remember the price at all, but maybe it was around $1.5 US. It came with a set of spare blades, and it was bought in a stationery store here in Tbilisi. Metal ruler. Metal is a key characteristic here. No wooden or plastic rulers are a good match for a ruthless X-Acto knife. Once you buy it, it will last you for a lifetime and even more. So this is the ruler that I bought when we lived in Belgrade. I've chosen a pretty long variant. It's 30 centimeters or 12 inches. And I remember that it was not that cheap, as cheap that I expected it to be. I paid around $7 US for this, but it's been like new, but I've used it so many times and in quite stressful collaging sessions. And yeah, it will last for, I don't know, hundreds of years. Scissors by Fiskars. This is one of the newest additions to my art toolkit. These exact scissors are the best that I've ever had. Before, for collaging, I used just regular scissors, such as these crane ones, and manicure scissors for intricate elements. But then these have entered my art journaling life, and they are simply the best. It's Fiskars brand. The size is number 5. They're very compact, it's a very comfortable grip, and an amazing tip to cut with utter precision. And they are so sharp and easy gliding, if you know what I mean by this. They were more on an expensive side. They were around $12, but I think that I will never need any other scissors other than these, and I will use it, and I'm already using it not only for my art journaling and collaging, but also for crafting, because they are so multifunctional. It's crazy, and it was one of the best investments, if you can call $12 an investment, but sometimes every little bit of money matters. So that's why I'm trying to be very intentional with what and how much I spend on my art journaling supplies. Glue stick. I'm very particular about glue. I almost never use white glue or any liquid glue for art journaling because they deform paper. Only glue sticks work. At the moment, I have this by Eric Krause. For some reason, it was always a challenge to find Eric Krause glue stick in places where I've lived for in the past 3 years or so. But now that I finally discovered a place that carries these glue sticks, I think I will get at least 2 more just to have in my stash, because this is an almost perfect variant. It's very easy to work with, it glides smoothly, it doesn't leave any nasty traces, you know, those little threads, I don't know how to describe it, that are very annoying. Some glue sticks leave them, but this is just, yeah, it's amazing. Recently, I tried Uhu glue stick, and in my humble opinion, I think it's the king of glue sticks that was ever invented by humanity. But it is so hard to find. I saved this empty package just to show you, and besides, it comes to an end so fast. I think it lasted for only less than 2 weeks for my active collaging sessions. And also it's pretty expensive. For this little thing, I paid around $4. And for this, just compare, I paid around $2. So the difference is obvious. Double-sided sticky tape. Very often overlooked by art journalers, this is a cool glue alternative, especially when you have to deal with big elements. And it also creates less mess than glue, and it lasts forever. I bought this around 2.5 or even 3 years ago back in Belgrade, and there is a lot of it left, and I'm still using it. It is very easy to handle, you don't even need scissors for it, and one of the best things about this tape is that it doesn't deform paper, and it is suitable for materials other than paper. Paper-based tape. I find the humble paper-based tape a better alternative than washi tape, but this is just my personal preference. I use it not only for creating neat frames and borders, which I don't do that often after all. I like adding this tape as collage elements for extra texture or as blocks for texts. If I don't like the text anymore on this or that collage, I can simply remove the tape, and it's as simple as that. It's a very versatile material and it's so cheap. I think this one was bought in a store that sells supplies for all sorts of renovation, like home renovation, and it was around $1, as far as I remember, or even less. Compasses. As a fan of circles, I love these. They help me turn any piece of scrap paper into a more balanced and harmonious collage element. I love adding circle elements into my art journal entries as they bring me such a gentle and soft feeling when I look at them, when I interact with them. And also it's a great way to bring the composition together. For example, when I look at some entry or journal entry of mine and I feel like something is lacking, I can always throw in one or a couple of circles and the page instantly looks better. I have a simple set of compasses materials. I bought these for about $4 in a stationery store here in Tbilisi. Those were art journaling supplies that I use the most all the time for all my sessions. And now I will share with you the ones that I wish I used more, just because I already have them, but something is stopping me from using them. And this something is basically one and the same reason. It's just I haven't figured out the way to deal with them. Colored pencils. I have quite a big selection of pencils because some of these were gifted by Brian, my husband, some I bought as a souvenir from a trip abroad. I have water-soluble pencils and non-water-soluble pencils, including the gorgeous Derwent drawing. But I'm still sitting on a fence with these. I think that at some point I will have to start a new art journaling challenge for myself to have this sort of incentive to learn to deal with colored pencils. And before I had some attempts of drawing with them and they were not that bad, so I know that I can do it. I just need more motivation and courage, I guess. Graphite pencils. The same problem as with colored pencils. I just need to make more space for experiments with them. I do like how they feel and look. And I have a selection of really cool and quality graphite pencils by Blackwing. And these are actually Brian's. So my only problem with graphite pencils is with using them is that they stain paper, and probably I will have to use, those thinner sheets of paper between the pages of the sketchbook, which will make sketchbooks bulkier. So I just need to figure out how to do all the process. But I already have this and I'm so excited to practice more in the future. Oil pastels. I don't have a lot of these, just a small box of gold and silver colors and a set of gray-hued ones. These are from a Russian brand and I haven't used them almost at all. I do like the soft and mellow texture and character of this medium, and I do want to try the technique when you scrape through the oil pastel layer. I think it would be such an interesting experiment and trying to incorporate it into art journaling thing. It would be very interesting. It will be very interesting because, of course, I will use this no matter what. I just have to. Markers. At the moment I have just 2 markers. I recently bought these to try and I cannot think of good ways of using them, so I just need more ideas and experimenting courage. These 2 are alcohol-based markers, but I would love to try acrylic and watercolor ones. And this brings me to the third part of the video, where I will talk about art journaling supplies that I would love to buy and try in the future. Ink and fountain pen. I've decided to combine these in one because this is how I would love to use them. I've seen such beautiful ways of using ink, not only for writing and calligraphy, but for drawing and painting. And on my wish list, I have both types of ink. It's water soluble, washable, and non-water soluble, washable. So I'm very excited to try, and I wanna choose different colors, maybe if they will be available to me in the future. Maybe in the future the fountain pen will become a good alternative to micron pens, but something's telling me that I will still continue using Sakura micron pens for the rest of my art life. Gouache. I don't have any experience with gouache whatsoever. Maybe I tried it deep in my childhood with simple children's gouache things. I don't even remember, but I'm very intrigued by this paint. Although I have no idea what to choose, how to handle it, what brushes to use. I'm still struggling, by the way. There is still a struggle to choose good watercolor brushes, so I'm just using whatever. So far, it's been working fine. But yeah, there will be a big learning curve, but I'm not rushing to get this gouache experience done. I still have a lot of materials to work with, and I don't enjoy having too much on my art plate because the limited choice of art materials can be very boosting in terms of creative expression. So yeah, but I still have this medium on my wish list. Other sketchbooks. I wanna try something else other than talents, royal talents. And as soon as I finish my current sketchbooks, I wanna choose something else. I have no idea what I will be able to find, where I will live then, but it gives such a nice element of surprise and excitement about the future. And I always like to leave an empty space for a chance of discovery in the future. I prefer not to hoard art materials or craft materials because apart from art, I do a lot of crafting stuff. So there is always good to have an empty space that just waits to be filled with something that you will suddenly become excited about. I hope that you enjoyed this chatty video. Please let me know in the comments, and also feel free to share what art materials, art journaling materials you use the most and why, maybe which ones you would love to try. It will be super interesting to connect. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, dear fellow creatives, and I'm wishing you a lovely day filled with art and inspiration and creativity, and I will see you in the next video. Пока-пока!